of souvenirs. I am back, and you guess what the souvenir is. Is there any change in me from the time I just left and now? Yes. There is something on my head. And are we all looking like princess? Yes. Cinderella? Do we feel like one? If the cameraman can capture the look on everyone's faces, most of them, with this magical thing on our head, there is an instant glow and smile on our face. And show everybody's faces, and it's amazing to feel young. Okay? Because if you feel young, automatically, naturally, you will look young. And that's how we all are. You all are young, but I on this side, all these little things, the magic of the child, the magic of Montessori always keeps you going. Song, poem, dedication to the mother. So the very first person the child comes in contact with is the mother and then the father. Together we have the parent. Hello. Together in understanding conflict. So you got to understand the parent, their role, you got to understand what is conflict, and then how could they carefully handle it to bring the child towards normalization. Now this is a technical thing. You got to understand the parents, you got to understand conflict, you got to understand child, you got to understand normalization. In fact, in simple word, you got to understand the Montessori system, and you cannot just understand the system, you've got to have the experience of the system. So, the right person who can do justification, in the program, as you can see names, the names are all there, and can be anyone. It's my pleasure to introduce one of our most senior person, more experienced person, and you will realize that she has done justification to this topic, and that is Mrs. Meher Javed.
So welcome to a very nice, fresh, green room. It's all nice and bright and pleasant. Okay, so our topic, conflict between the parents and the child. This is the world of adults, as you know. Everything is done in accordance with the adults' choice, their requirements, their needs. And child, when he comes into this world, he has to adjust in the world of adults. Wherever you look around, you will find things at the convenience of the adult. We do things according to our requirement. And when the child starts getting adjusted to this environment, he starts moving about, the young child will start crawling, moving, and then the trouble starts, the conflict starts. Parents don't want the child to do anything which will be harmful to him, and at the same time they do not want the child to do things which are set up by them. They don't want to move their things, they don't want the child to touch anything, but child is on the way of building himself. Nature's command is movement. Adults around the home, they say, no movement, be a good child and sit down. Parents and all the adults around the children expect the child that if he is sitting or he is quiet, then he is a well-behaved child. But this is not so. Child's inner need, his urges are that he has to move. The more the movement, the more of the physical development. And that physical development is need of the child. Child has to grow up, and for that he will be doing different things. The child moves, he touches the switches. All of you have seen this. And then what happens? The adults start objecting to that. Instead of blocking that or putting scotch tape on the sockets, we always are ready to be angry with the child. To be angry is not the solution. You have to adjust to the child's needs. You have to see what is the requirement of the child. Because if you keep on being aggressive with the child, it will not help in any progress. When child sees people pouring water and drinking, it may be the dispenser, it may be from a bottle or a jug, child tries. Child tries to do in the same way. And then what happens? It is always, no, don't do it. For the safety of the child, for the safety of your crockery. Don't do it, it may fall and it may break. And I always tell you in all the things that one evening my daughter broke 5 glasses. In one evening. Because she kept on trying, one after the other. And then there comes the problem from the adults. Even our adults, the grandfather started shouting, what is happening? Why is she is doing this? So you have to have the patience and the tolerance. We cannot just stop the child by shouting. Shouting is not the solution. We have to find out the ways in which we can help the child adjust. The child is all the time on the move. Everywhere you see, child will be doing something. The young child may just open and close the drawers. So why child is doing it? Child is not a bad child that he will do it just for the sake of being naughty or to disturb you. Child is doing it because of his need to develop his hand muscles. Child is moving about, jumping because it is the sensitive period for movement. And as adults, we have to understand. We have to understand why the child is going. Shouting is not the solution. Scolding the child, people go to the extent of hitting the child. Then what happens? There develops an inner regression. Child is moving away from reality. He does not want to be in that environment. And you will see children are scared of something. Try to find out what the child likes, what the child wants to do. It is not that the child has the freedom to do anything. Child is working within limits. He has the freedom of choice. He may do something, he may not do it, but you cannot just scold the child and make him sit. That is not a natural process. In the home, there are many restrictions. So when the child comes to the Montessori environment, there he will get freedom of choice, he will get a person who is supposed to be loving and caring in the form of a directress. But that time limit is where the child is being always rushed into things. Now is the time to get up quickly. Breakfast time, van time, school time. As soon as the child come home, okay, change, get ready for your next thing. It may be going for Quran recitation, whatever, do your homework, or if nothing, if it's a young child, go to sleep. A child is always pressurized by the adults. And as the child cannot express in words, this starts building an inner conflict, an inner stressful situation. And that you will see, child becomes aggressive. They may shout at you, they may show tantrums, and people will just go on the surface details. They will not bother why child is doing this. Child is doing always due to the reasons at the background. Child in a situation, the child is happily busy in his work, and suddenly there comes the pressure. Do this, do it now. I want you to do it immediately. If you say bad language, after a few times, child will repeat with that same bad language for you, and then you get aggressive, you hit and punish the child. So it should not be so. We have to understand the situation. Be helpful to the child. If you are asking the child to eat, let the child try out. Let him try to feed himself. You should not always be in a hurry that quickly I will feed the child, change the child, and then I'll do my next work. Involve the child. Let the child eat for himself. Let the child try out things by himself, but do not abandon the child in such situations. Children do not like to be left alone all the time. They want the company and guidance of adults. who can be a better guide and a teacher than a mother? Do not just do the physical requirement, fulfill the physical requirements and then abandon the child. You have to care for the child. There should be a bonding and a love between the parents and the child. Fathers nowadays are so busy, they feel that only they have to provide the financial aspect. Child has nothing more than that. But child's requirements are such that he will go for less expensive things and more of love and care. We have seen mothers who work and then they get the very expensive things for the children. But they have no time for the child. They just come and check with the maid, everything is okay. If the maid says yes, satisfied.
Congratulations. My name is not there on this lecture.
Yeah.
It is, right? So I couldn't prepare anything. And then suddenly before going home it occurred to me it would be so nice if we could have something visual. I asked Shumaila that this is my topic and see what you could do. And let's see what she has done. Shumaila, it's all over. A review, a summary, a conclusion of the topic, deviation.
Okay girls, we have some details about deviation and normality. If you want, you can copy the slides, and if you want, you can take the pictures so that you can save the important points for you, okay?
और लोगों को नजर नहीं आ रहा, वो पीछे वालों को नहीं दिख रहा, पीछे वाले आप लोग दो करके आए, ज़्यादा घर जमा नहीं, मेरे को पीछे वालों को नहीं दिख रहा, या बैठ के पिक्चर लेना।
हेलो
Can you see? Love for work, love for order, deep spontaneous concentration, attachment of reality, love for silence, and sublimation of possessiveness instinct. These are, as you heard in the lecture, but this is you can see it all together. Quality of obedience. The child is independent and full of initiative. A sense of neutral work and not competition. Spontaneous self-discipline. Quality of joy, because the normalized child is a happy child, and power to act from real choice and not out of curiosity. Not because one person is doing something, he wants to do it. He does it because he wants to do it. What is deviation? It means the diversion of the constructive energies from its true course. And at the same time that Montessori was distinguishing the process of normalization, she distinguished another process which she called deviation. She saw that the process of normalization and deviation is going on all of the time. It is what the children are engaged in. Oh, types of deviation. There are many types of deviation. Dr. Montessori has categorized deviation in several ways. It is interesting to see how she reframes their presence while giving them different titles. There is an overlapping between the various categories, however, each order she places. Deviations fostered by adults. Deviation not fostered by adults. That is, one the adult and one the environment. Deviation fostered by adult. We gave you so many examples. There is one. By the time a child is 3 years old, deviations are so common that many of them are fostered by adults and thought to be normal for children. For example, some adults find these characteristics desirable state of being over-affection, attachment to person, submission, play, laziness, overreacting and instability of attention. These we think is a happy normal child, but unfortunately these are the qualities of a deviated child. Deviation not fostered by adults. Some deviation, while thought to be normal, are not likely to be deliberately fostered. They are likely to be corrected. Messiness, disobedience, quarreling are some common as to be thought normal. The lazy child or the inhibited child who outwardly appears to do little are constructing a thick inner wall of defense to keep out the external world. We are all aware of adults' negative reaction to these behaviors. Look at that lovely picture. Lovely as in it's showing that what deviation could be. Look at that picture. I don't even need to read. Children do that. Deviation as fugues. Remember I used this terminology? The season of the childhood. She talks about deviation as being fugues and barriers. A fugue is a running away and taking refuge, often hiding away as one hides one real energies behind the mask. These are the children who are never still, but their movements are without purpose. They begin an action, leave it unfinished, and hurry to the next. They fancy toys only, throw them away, look at that, throw them away, and they become conditioned to the need to be entertained. Some children are always saying, nagging, hanging around the mother, and mother is happy, my child can't live without me, he loves me so much. Next slide. Deviation as barriers. A barrier is an inhibition which is strong enough to prevent the child from responding to her surroundings. It shows itself as disobedience. The teachers may upset the child's intelligence because of deviation keeps away the things that would promote growth. The most common of the barriers produce the following deviation: dependence, possessiveness, power craving, inferiority complex, fear, lying, and psychosomatic illness. Suddenly the child will break up into some sort of mental, behavior. Deviation shown by the strong and the weak child. The abnormal mind, she talks about deviation shown by the strong, meaning those who resist and overcome the obstacle they meet, and deviation shown by the weak child, meaning those who succumb to unfavorable conditions. This Ammar, the child who hit, what kind of child was he? Weak or strong? Deviated. He was and the girl who said, and she was the weak, deviated child. The strong, defects of the strongs are capricious, tendencies to violence, fits of rage. We see that in children. Please come. Very quickly, folding and reflecting the our look. You see, once you come here, there is a transformation in your personality, and from everything, from the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we, we are different. We are master trainers, and our dressing changes, our approach towards life changes, and we seem to be positive, and we are seeing that. I'm sure you are feeling that in your. So there is that. So we don't need to go to any gym, we don't need to go to any parlor or any, everything changes for the better. So this is the new addition. So today's team and tomorrow's team, the language team, it is Miss Amina, Miss Asfa, and the team is not completed without the branch coordinator, Miss Saima Asad. You are nothing without the teacher and the coordinator. You can't come to an empty class. Coordinator, you are nothing without the students and the teacher. You just can't sit on your office alone. Teacher, you again, if there are no student and no coordinator, what will you do? How many files will you check? And whose file will you check? What presentation will you give? So it's a triangle. Equal. And this triangle is complete. Here, the lady who works very hard and who still is scared of the management as if it's her first day on job. I have my association with her for more than 15 years. She was in Karachi Road branch and then she's there in Gulshan. And the success of a branch definitely a lot lies in the hands of the coordinator. She has done really hard work towards the workshop, a lot of admissions. Okay, we are not going to break out the figures, but they are hard working, and the important thing is for the branch to be successful.